CRWS Countering Racism White Supremacy Book Club. Like, share, subscribe, and comment below.
A story. This is true. I'm not going to use any names, but I was away and I came back and she told me she had been raped, but she handled the situation of the rape in the most extraordinary way. But my immediate reaction was, I asked, did she know who it was? No. What colour were they? She said it was a black person. I went up and down areas with a cosh, hoping I'd be approached by somebody. I'm ashamed to say that. And I did it for maybe a week, hoping some black bastard would come out of a pub and have a go at me about something, so that I could kill him. And it took me a week, maybe a week and a half to kind of go for that. And she said to me, "Where are you going?" I said, "I'm just going out for a walk, She said, "What's wrong?" "No, nothing's wrong, fine." And it was horrible when I think back, but I did that. And I've never admitted that to it. I'm saying it to a journalist, God forbid.
Holy shit.
It's awful. But I did learn a lesson from it when I eventually thought, what the fuck are you doing, And I come from a society, I grew up in Northern Ireland in the Troubles, and I knew a couple of guys that died on hunger strike, and I had acquaintances that were very caught up in the Troubles. And I understand that need for revenge, but it just leads to more revenge and more killing and more killing. And, Ireland, Northern Ireland is proof of that, All the stuff that's happening in the world at the minute, the violence is proof of that, So it's, but that's, primal need, I understand,
You can relate to that.
Greetings, everyone. Welcome to CRWS Counter Racist Review on Atlanta, Season 3, Episode 5, Cancer Attack. I think this episode is an excellent piece of Area 3 entertainment that we can use to teach or attempt to teach/tell a person about racism, white supremacy, what it is and how it works. And a key theme that I observed in this episode was something very codified. Wasn't demonstrated perfectly, but it was attempted. And the theme was the suspicion, questioning white people and being suspicious of white people. But there was one major error that folks are gonna understand as we discuss the show. But the major error was them not being suspicious of all white people under the system of racism, white supremacy. Non-white people, victims of racism, must be suspicious of all white people who may be able to practice racism in the system of racism, white supremacy, due to the infinite amount of deception that has been propagated and produced by racist men and racist women. Non-white people must be suspicious of all white people who may be racist, because we are dealing with very, very dangerous and effective people. And this episode is evident in an example of that, because we have Paperboy not lose his phone. Boy's phone is stolen, simple sabotage. And they go around questioning all the white people. They question a suspected racist white child, and then a really colorful, I don't know if that's the correct term to say, but they questioned a really bizarre suspected racist 32-year-old who is pretending to be a 19-year-old, but they don't question their so-called white friend Socks. they don't question them. And this has gotten non-white people in a lot of trouble. Many non-white people have went to their so-called white friend's house and ended up dead, hit in the back of the head with a shovel. That's pretty recent. I can't recall the exact names, but that just came to mind. Or, taking a picture surrounded by your white woman, suspected racist friends and ending up dead at a slumber party. Can't recall that case either, but the image comes to mind. What happens when we don't suspect our so-called white friends. And just for ultimate clarity, white friends do not exist in regards to non-white people. We don't have any friends. We're in a system of racism and white supremacy, and we have been victimized for a very long time. And if we had friends, they would have helped us out of this situation. But here we are. So it turns out Socks is the one who had Paperboy's phone. And when this episode first started, and I realized that it was going to be about Paperboy's phone being missing, I declared it's Socks. Socks has the phone, of course. But due to all of the non-white people, Darius, I think that's his name, Paperboy, and Earn, due to them being confused victims of racism, they don't question Socks, because probably they trust them. I don't know. And I have tons more to say about some coded messages that may or may not be in this episode that I may or may not have seen. Maybe I'm just rambling. But I'm going to pause my mic there and see other folks want to chime in.
Hello? Okay, so oh no, I thought we were gonna play a little bit of the show, the fast forward rewind. But in the very beginning, notice that a white guy goes up to Earn with the like coffee cups or whatever, like some drinks. And Earn is telling him, no, I wanted ginger beer, not ginger ale or something like that. So notice when the white guy comes in, somebody checks his ID. It's real fast. It's like barely a glance. But when Earn is walking through the arena and he gets to, first he's walking real confident, shoulders is back and, his head's up, whatever. And he gets to the guard who's at this certain door, and the white man, he like checks his ID. He makes him stand there. He has to go through a paper. He writes something down. I don't know if y'all noticed that he had a clipboard in his hand. And like, okay, Earn, you thought you was in control. You thought that, just because you're Paperboy's manager, like, oh, like you're kind of untouchable. But this white guy just showed you, no, you're still, you're still who you are. Another thing that I wanted to mention, when they were questioning Wiley, and there was confusion whether or not he was 19 or 32. And immediately what came to mind was this Olympic swimmer named Ryan Lochte. He lied about being robbed. And when the news reported the story, he was 32 at the time. But when the news reported the story, it was, he's a kid. And, he was just having fun. Like, what? The man is 32. How's he a kid? But they were trying to play it down or whatever. He was with some younger people, but still, they were calling, the news reporters, white people, were calling him a kid. Ryan a kid. So that's what I was reminded when they were having a back and forth about whether this guy Wiley was 19 or 32. And I'll let somebody else talk.
They were trying to play it down. A better way of counter race is saying is white people were trying to disguise or not reveal how incorrect it was for him to be with those younger adults doing whatever the hell they were doing.
If folks want to share any more notes about the episode.
Does anyone notice how Earn never challenges racism, white supremacy? He never challenges white people when they're dominating him or mistreating him. He just ends up with a sad face back where the black people are, maybe complaining. Does but he never challenges them. Paperboy does, but he only goes to straight. He want to be somebody else.
I did notice that you said that Darius during the call with Wiley, Darius is just the way he's positioned, just yeah, he just so away from the conflict. That's something I noticed. He's just like I'm not gonna. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to find the image, but he like has his hands over his head while they're oh yeah, right here. Here it is. Just yeah, right here. He's just like I
don't see anything on my screen.
Oh, still not? You don't see anything at all?
No, it's black. That's why I was surprised we were already.
Oh, you haven't seen anything at all its entire time?
No.
Did y'all hear that? Did I hear the Liam Nelson?
Yes.
Okay. Well,
I can hear everything, but I don't.
saw the Liam, but I mean, I heard it, but there was no clip of him talking with the reporters.
Oh yeah, no, the Liam Nelson, there was stuff on the screen, but yeah, I'm sure. Can y'all see now?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Oh, that's my error, I suppose. But yeah, this image right here, he just sort of I don't know, not helping not attempting to help the situation at all. I just kind of I don't want to use the word, but I just see it as cowering. That's all. And this only came to mind because what you said about Earn not countering white supremacy and pairing this image with what we know about Darius, about how he's literally has had his genitals removed, according to what he said in the show. You know, this could be what that image represents, a totally emasculated a black male. I don't know.
And notice he still has the blonde hair, so
yeah,
it is that.
Yeah,
3/5 of a man. All three of them. They make up one psychopathology of the nigger. And I think we divide ourselves like these three. They offer us these three type of personalities, I should say.
Yeah, exactly. Continue, Mr. Justice. Yeah,
Paperboy is one type, so-called street nigga. Not much aspirations, just want to smoke good weed and waste time with females. Earn is, I want to be a part of the great white world through via getting money, maybe. But ultimately, I want to, he tries to be a weak version of an effeminate white man, in my opinion. I feels like that. See him on TV. Just turn on any TV program, especially something like a talk show or a game show. Just Earn over and over and over again. And then Total in the clouds, obvious effeminate, is the boy with the yellow hair. It's not blonde, that's yellow on him. That's weed straw glass, whatever. But he's it's 3/5 of a man. Look at the three of them as one Negro.
And it's really interesting what you said about Earn, because remember when Wiley was saying, like, you don't have your Southern accent like, you know, everybody else. And isn't it interesting? You know, have you ever been told that you sound white or something like that? Remember he was telling him, Wiley was telling Earn about himself, about not fitting in. So that's,
I think the whole thing, the reason why Earn was looking at him funny, because he was like, wait a minute, is he trying to act like a nigger? Because this is how they've taught us to describe how we feel almost like we can individualize white supremacy without acknowledging, wait a minute, the whole reason you feel alone and rejected and alienated is because of white supremacy. But now the white dude's acting like we somehow make him come into that state of consciousness. So I think he's mocking that it's revealed that he perceives that refined races often try to talk to you in terms that almost are metaphysically like they're trying to, again, remove the dynamic of white supremacy racism, the hostility of one group of people against another, and individualize our experiences. And then somehow they'll come to our rescue in these piecemeal ways.
And also notice how Wiley like was flipping everything and asking them questions. Oh, and that's how they do that so well. So well.
The one
And you know,
asking the questions is the one in control, in
I was just
authority.
about to say that. Yep, exactly. And he knows that.
One of the things I do when racists try to get you to talk about it, are you having a good or a bad day? Fuck out of here. I'm a slave. The fuck is a day? But anyway, back to it. So, how you doing today? So I'll go, how are you doing? Oh, fine, thanks. So you having a good day? And I won't say another fucking word. I'm refusing them the right that they love to have, as if there's some moral beacon or some spiritual gauge of how they can check on you and make sure you're feeling all right.
Now there was something interesting that happened that I want to talk about when they called Wiley, when everybody called Wiley and they were trying to get the phone back, trying to coax him to come back to the arena. And then the white guy snatched the phone and threatened Wiley. I call that calling out. Now, to some victims, that's going to look like, oh, he was helping, even though he didn't. But that just goes to show how emotional he was, which he wasn't. He was just, it was all it wasn't real. He wasn't for real in what he was saying and what he
Smoke
was
screen.
doing. Huh?
Smoke screen.
Yes,
That's what some
exactly.
guys would do.
Exactly.
Yeah, in greater confinement. They would steal from somebody they're cool with, but act like they're ready to kill anybody and fight anybody who may have stole from their friend. But that's the dude who stole from you.
Exactly. So when I talk to white people, if I ever get this far in the conversation or whatever, I have suggestions. And one of the suggestions that I have is for them not to call out. That's what this guy was doing in a sense when he grabbed the phone and was threatening, like, oh, he has just so much emotion, and yeah, he's gonna, defend his friends and blah blah blah. He's gonna get his friends, his so-called friends' phone back or whatever. And this is exactly what I'm talking about. And this is why I tell white people not to do. Exactly what Socks did at this moment when he snatched the phone. And notice how the white people was on code in this show with the guy running the arena, not taking it seriously that Paperboy's phone was stolen. And then like delaying going to Wiley. Oh, who? What? I don't know who you're talking about. Oh, that's my nephew. Oh, no, I don't have his number. I got his brother's number. But it's too late to call. Like, notice how on code he was. Like, he didn't want to give
Over and over and over, he had an answer.
Oh yeah, white, Cole. Hey, we don't give up each other. We don't give up white people. What are you doing? And I think this scene right here is also an example of simple sabotage. This was him also trying to further the sabotage of Paperboy not getting his phone. Causing more conflict than bringing solutions to the drawing board. That's why I see this and I don't think it's a coincidence that this screen has glitched on us right now, and we're seeing this white racist as his face is like double, you know. Hey, this is just a quick symbol for us to understand the universe is telling and validating that when racist men and racist women speak, it often has a double meaning, maybe quadruple meaning, tons of, if you're really dissecting what they're saying, but often has a double meaning. And what the red man say, speaking fork tongue, split ways, two, double. So anywho, that's just something that caught my eye. Yeah, socks. He had the phone. I knew he had the phone for the beginning, and the highly confused trio of black males. None of them have a code of dealing with the system of white supremacy racism. Therefore, no one had it in a protocol to, hey, question socks. He's a white person. He could be a racist, and therefore he could be sabotaging us. He could be mistreating us, deceiving us. So we got to ask socks too. He's not really our friends. We're in a system of white supremacy. We don't have friends in the system of white supremacy. So we got to ask socks. If socks got the phone, socks would have probably, spazzed out, called them a nigger, or something like that. But yeah, code non-white people, I am begging, please, go to producejustice.com so you can develop a counter-racist code, counter-racist thinking, because the way we have been taught to think is not constructive. It's very much like a racist. And that's not going to help us solve the race problem.
And speaking of code, if Darius was as serious about going on adventures as he is about if somebody was to give him the code or whatever, and he was to take the code like he does adventures, going off into non-constructive actions, however you want to put it or whatever, we done solved this problem. More people would have read the code. He would have got so many people on board because he is dedicated to foolishness, going on adventures.
Yeah,
just foolishness, non-constructive stuff.
I was like, what's going on with this man? Yeah, I thought they were gonna do something with the blueprint, but then I'm like, no, I'm confused. I'm assuming Darius is like, constructive. Darius is like, a fellow victim of racism. So it's
entertainment.
Yeah, he's very much. I'm trying to get to the part where he was like dancing before Paperboy went on, but yeah, just picture that.
I think that dancing was on purpose.
Go ahead, continue, elaborate, please, if you can. So the name of the episode is called Cancer Attack. And well, before I decode the title or attempt to decode the title, I gotta get in another aspect of the code that was somewhat demonstrated here. All right. So in the system of white supremacy, we must be suspicious of even a racist child or a white child who may be able to be a racist. We have to be suspicious of even them, because even in this system, even they have more power than us, non-white people. So we have to be suspicious of them. And yeah, I don't get, if you got so-called cancer, well, hey, you can still be a racist, white supremacist. You can have one leg, one eye. You can still be a racist, white supremacist. We don't know who these people are, so we just have to be, for our safety, we got to be suspicious of all white people who may be able to practice racism. So them questioning this white child, somewhat on code. Not
only did he question, he lift the legs up,
yeah.
Ooh, yeah. He was on point there. Notice how Paperboy wasn't suspicious of this cancer child, this cancer boy. Nobody was suspicious of socks.
Yeah, nobody was suspicious of socks at all. And I knew he had trouble ever since he was introduced in the episode he was introduced in. But that's because I have a counter racist code I'm attempting to practice, and it's, you know, so I saw this coming a mile away. That's simple sabotage. So the title, cancer attack. You know, cancer is a just cancer, from my understanding, is a disease that invades the body and spreads. You know, racist man and racist woman, they have invaded various the entire planet, not various areas of the planet, but all areas of the planet they have invaded and conquered, and evidence suggests that these areas are in not the best conditions. These areas are stricken with misery and just incorrect things happening 24/7, despite some of these areas looking pristine. But and that's how I see racist man and racist woman as some sort of as a cancer, literally killing the planet and its inhabitants, spreading, trying to leave the planet now and go to other planets, you know. And that's what a real cancer attack is, you know, because you can't have like a heart, you can't have a cancer attack like you have a heart attack. But if you think about like just decoding the title in a different way, perhaps we can follow the path where our path lead, which is racist man and racist woman, the system, or racist or white supremacy. So if you think on that avenue, then we could understand that, yeah, racist man, racist woman are very cancerous to my personal health. Yeah, I'm sure many of us have lost victims of racism to the disease known as cancer, which is, I suspect, would not be on planet Earth if racist men and racist women weren't doing what they're doing. But yeah, cancer attack. We need to solve the race problem, or we're gonna keep having a lot of cancer attacks. We're gonna keep having this tacky, trashy, and terroristic relationship with white people and with each other. Because did anyone else notice how Earn and Paperboy, they just, when they, even in their interactions with each other, it was just so awkward and bizarre. You know, just things aren't clicking when non-white people even try to have real conversations with each other. Because if the context isn't racism and white supremacy, then what are we talking about? If we're not talking about solving problems, then what are we talking about? I'm just a fellow miserable non-white person. Even if I don't know I'm miserable, I'm in a miserable state due to my classification. You know, I'm just wondering if folks caught that interaction. It felt strange, and it felt like something I could relate to. You know, yeah, just really devastated people. And what did Darius refer to himself as? The devastated cop. You know, so some truth in the massive confusion and in this episode. Devastated people. And I'll pause my.
White people weren't doing what they were doing, aka practicing racism, aka messing with the food, giving us synthetic food, stressing us out to the point that, you know, we're being non-constructive in our activities. Then yeah. Oh, going back to the code part, white people being on code. Notice how the guy who's running the venue or whatever, he said that's not even his nephew, his real nephew. He said that's nephew through marriage, and he hadn't seen him in 15 years. But yet he still he still had the sense to protect him because he's white. Because he's white. He felt like he had to protect him when it came to, you know, this phone being stolen, you know, going missing. So yeah, that's another way. Notice how he was on code.
Very, very much on code. Yep. Yeah, you said the perfect word family. They don't even have to be related by blood. It's all one big white family. The only family that exists on planet Earth is the white family. Yeah. So we played the clip earlier of Liam Neeson, whatever the racist name is, and I'm calling him a racist because I have evidence of him wanting to harm a black person. So that I could tag him as a racist. Anywho, we played that clip because he was mentioned by a racist in this episode. He was mentioned by Socks. Socks said that I'm like the white Liam Neeson, which is just racist jargon, racist nonsense, just trying to confuse the folks who are hearing the nonsense. And also maybe the writers want us to understand that, hey, Socks is like Liam Neeson, Socks is like, just because you see this person, and you've been trained to like this person, I think this person is cool, I think this person is someone you should aspire to be like. No, racist. He wants to go out and harm you. He thinks about sabotaging you in ways that you can't even fathom. This is how these people operate. This is why I used to be suspicious of the Liam Nielsen's and the Socks. Your entourage, the family members who are white that you think are your family members that have married into your family, invaded your family, and are spreading massive confusion amongst your so-called family victim unit. Yeah, you should be very suspicious of these people because they're very dangerous and very, very, meticulous, patient, and very, very smart, way smarter than I am. Way smarter than I am.
Please explain to me, besides it being confusion, please explain to me why Liam Neeson and Samuel L. Jackson was mentioned in the same sentence. I think Samuel L. Jackson's name was thrown out there to confuse us. That's what I think. Because I don't get the correlation. I don't get the connection between the two.
Yeah, I don't think Mr. Jackson has I don't think Mr. Jackson has a track record of wanting to go out and harm people like Neeson does. Oh, just confusing him.
Yeah, just to make it a mockery, so you don't pay too much attention. To Liam Neeson. Samuel L. Jackson's supposed to be the prototypical nigger. The one whites can deal with.
I think that Wiley recorded Paperboy. Remember when he said, "Oh, you're good cop, bad cop," when he revealed what he knew about them? And he was like, "Oh, you're playing good cop, bad cop, and now you're gonna record me and hoping that I reveal that I took your phone or whatever." I think at that moment he went in his pocket. He had whatever up under the desk, the table, and then he put whatever back in his pocket. I think he recorded Paperboy. When Paperboy was sharing about himself, I think he recorded Paperboy.
Oh wow, you made me on something. I didn't catch that. But I did catch when Wiley was singing on that guitar. I did catch him in his lyrics that he was singing. He did say something along the lines like tide is coming. And that made me think of the rising tide of color, because folks should definitely listen to that book on context of white supremacy, rising tide of color. You learn a lot about racism, white supremacy, and your position as a non-white person on planet Earth. Oh, and back to socks. Just a lot of this film. I mean, this episode has a lot of just examples of just the attackiness of existing in the system of white supremacy. Socks has like an outburst. They say that what Socks about to say, he's about to say nigger, right? And I'm like, he's probably gonna say nigger, honestly. You know, I think he's more likely for him to say nigger than nigger. And yeah, and the way he used it, he says, I'm finna go kill that nigga is what he was about to say. And they mean the same thing anyway. So, but again, we're highly confused and we have a trio of confused victims in this episode. The main characters are highly confused victims of racism. And the only one who's not confused about racism in this shot right here is the one looking at us and the other white guy right here. But everyone else is very, very, very confused about race and white supremacy. So when he says, when we hear a white person say nigga, it's no big deal. He didn't say nigga with the ER. It means the same thing, victim of racism, a target designated for mistreatment, But hey, nigga and niggers, they mean different things, apparently. Is it making sense? My understanding of how of this nigga word and how it was used in this episode.
It makes sense what you said, but he was going to use the term towards Wiley.
Another white person. Yeah.
So that's where it's going to be confusing for those who don't understand the code.
But that's just more refinement, I think. This is more refinement, and we should see this. We should see these images and say, hey, how about we just put a stop to all this tacky, trashy, and terroristic behavior? How about we have a product system called justice, and we guarantee no one is allowed to be mistreated, and those who need help receive constructive help. So there's no more niggas and no more niggers and no more crackers or honkies or whatever silly names we come up with to avoid solving the race problem. This is what we need, a system of justice so we can cut through all this filth we've been drowning in since I came to this wretched planet. But yeah, we just solve this race problem. Dun, dun. And the whole tragedy of this episode, and it's really got my just really it was just so tragic. They didn't, just don't trust white people. White people don't trust us. They definitely do not trust us, which is why you need them to sign them. This is why you need white people to sign a paper for most of the things that you want to do that are of constructive value. You need a white person permission because they don't trust us. They're not supposed to trust us. They call us their enemy. They classify us as their enemy. So, and the war that they're waging against us, of course, that they're not going to trust us. They've been trained to see us as their enemy, and we've been trained to see them as gods and our friends and families. So, the dynamic is really off. So when I saw this, and I saw, this racist hidden in plain sight throughout the episode, I knew he was there because I'm a little bit less confused. But I'm sure there's thousands of non-white people who saw this episode and did not suspect Socks, Mr. Socks, and they thought Mr. Socks is cool. He's like their white friend. He's like their white buddy that they think they have. But be suspicious of white people. I beg you.
Everything he was doing was potentially jeopardizing them. That's a clear sign of him practicing racism right there. That's when they should have beat his ass and threw him out.
but he's been doing that ever since the character
Yep,
has
since
been
you've been
introduced.
around, right? That's what I think we're dealing with.
Ever-
I knew that when I was before I was codified. Any white person I would hang out with, and he trying to act like a nigger, yeah, you trying to mess up my life. So I got to get rid of him, or I'm gonna hurt him.
And then they were in the vehicle with him. They should have got out immediately. Why is he in the vehicle with you?
Right.
And then didn't he have? This is the second time Paperboy has lost his phone, and he gave him his phone the first time in the van when they were leaving. Right?
Well, maybe I think you may be right.
Because I remember he's like, "Here's your phone," because the girl in the place took his. No, that was his hat.
Yeah,
That was his
yeah,
hat.
yeah.
That
You're
was his
right.
hat.
Yeah, she was No, she took his hat. Yeah, you're right. She took his hat, but he may have gave him the hat back or something to create this trust. But you're right, Miss Constructive Action. The moment they saw this insane psychopath inside the car with them, they should have left. This is suspect
I
racist. I'm out of here.
would have. I need you to stop the car. You're not going to stop the car.
Yeah.
Because no,
Wait a minute. I'm trying to understand something. Are you saying that Socks gave the phone back?
no. The I got confused. To be expected, but in the episode, what was that? The second or
Episode
third?
3. Yeah, episode 3. The old man and the tree.
When they were in when Paperboy had his hat taken. He was looking around for his hat and then his money. He wasn't getting it. They called the for Earn called for a vehicle to take him away. They can't find Vanessa, but when they get in the van, Socks is behind the wheel or in the passenger seat. He's in the front.
Yeah.
And instead of getting out, they just stay there. And then he goes, "Here's your hat." The hat he's been chasing some female around to get, plus trying to get his money. I think Socks set all of this up. He's setting all of this up. All of these pieces, all these domino pieces to knock them over, to sabotage them. So he can control them to do whatever it is he wants to do for his entertainment.
And what I get from what comes to my mind is that, wow, like Socks being able to just insert himself into these black people's existence is very much so how the system works. White people choose us. If they want to be around us, they have the power to do so, as we seen here. Like no one stopped Socks from being amongst their entourage. He's hanging out with them now. He's in the back room now with Paperboy. All from just meeting them at a party and being white. How come TJ hanging out with them? Maybe because TJ is a black male. He doesn't have that power, the same power as a white man. But yeah, the moment he's code. From the beginning, if you're suspicious of white people, you will avoid a lot of anguish. I suspect. I know I would have, had I known what kind of world I was born into. The moment I was born into it, had I known, I would have saved a lot of anguish. So yeah, my notes. A lot of my notes are just.
So that's the great part. The more you
Say again?
study, you'll get over it. Trust me, man. I got so much more peace, and I get so much more comfort in life because they're not in my fucking personal space and business. They're not in my head like they used to be. I don't desire them or their trinkets and shit. So that just frees you up, man, to have so much more peace. And man, I feel like I'm wealthy as hell sometimes. I don't even know what that means, but just to have so much less anxiety and fear and depression and all that, because I know exactly what the fuck is going on. So just keep studying them and you'll be straight. You're gonna get them out your emotions. You wash them out. It's the best way to put it. Once they wash out your psyche, the emotions are gonna go and then the affections, and then you're your own creation.
Yeah, I think I took my feelings out this business a while ago. It's nothing personal. I just speaking past tense, but I still understood.
I'm bringing it up because every episode, everybody black on this show is much more comfortable around white people than each other. Soon as Paperboy got on at that round table gambling with all white dudes, he was so comfortable he kept touching the dude next to him's leg when he would tell a joke. He kept telling the joke. He was so comfortable. He ain't never like that in the room with the other two. The yellow hair boy, as soon as he off taking drugs and hanging out, he totally comfortable, getting philosophical and everything. So I mean, that's just their affections are tied to the investment of trusting that if all else fails, we're around white people or they got us. So that's why they letting him drive off, because it proves that in the end of the day, they trust them more than they trust themselves.
Damn. Well said. Indeed. So yeah, all my notes are just reiterating don't trust white people who are able to practice racism and white supremacy. Didn't even suspect him. We don't suspect them being racist man and racist woman, aka white people. And then the Neeson, and the Neeson, there's millions of Neesons who we have been accustomed to watching on our TV screen. So we gotta be suspicious of everybody. The Brad Pitts, Angelina Jolie, they got everybody. We know more. Yeah. Focus. What's this episode? What we should learn from this episode is to focus on white people and be suspicious of white people. That's the theme. That should be a takeaway. Yeah. So I hope folks are scrolling to find themselves a Atlanta review or something, and they come across this, and this is what you should have learned from this episode. Do not trust people who are waging a war against you. Miss B.
I forgot where I heard this, but why would you not focus on the people, the white people in general, but I'm talking about white people who oppress you? Why not focus on that? That makes no sense to focus on something else. Why not try to figure out how not to be oppressed? Why not study the thing that is harming you? Why would you study another non-white person? That makes no sense to me. None whatsoever. But we have been so trained and programmed to focus on each other instead of racist man and racist woman and racist child. And that's what this episode revealed to me. But, I have no more notes. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I keep forgetting and remembering to share this about Socks and why he stole the phone. He's not gonna, he threw the phone in the trash can. So he's not gonna get any information from it. He's not gonna be able to profit off this theft. And this just goes to really show you racism, white supremacy, what it is and how it works. Why did Socks mistreat, practice deceit, harm Paperboy and his associates? Because he could, because they allowed him to. They allowed him to due to their poor understanding of the world they live in. And Socks did what he did because he understands, hey, I'm in a world where my people, white people, are in charge. these clowns, paperboy, they don't have a clue. You know, I'm gonna steal this phone, right? I'm gonna hang out with them right under their noses, just because I can. It's gonna be fun for me. It's gonna be fun for me to spaz out, act hard. You know, think back to that film, Get Hard with Will Ferrell and Kevin Hart. But anyway, act hard. You know, role play as a nigga a little bit, and then I'm on to the next one. Have my fun. You know, on to the next victims. So, yeah, the power dynamics is very telling and very, very pitiful. You know,
To add on to what you just said, he
Mhm.
did it because he could practice racism, white supremacy. He did it for his entertainment. That's why he did it. Yeah.
Yeah,
To add on to what you said.
indeed. Yeah, it was very fun for him, and he's gonna be. Yeah, he's gonna get a lot of glory for the people, for the white people who he does share this story with. You know, oh yeah, I got over on Paperboy out one time. I stole his phone. He's stupid bloke didn't even know. Blah blah blah. However, the racist is gonna talk. Um, but yeah, this episode. I hope this show is, communicating and these messages are getting through to fellow victims of racism. Because if not, we're just wasting our time watching this and we're not learning anything, and we're just gonna turn off the TV and go to school or go to work or go to the club next day and be dancing or working or studying next to a white person and be none the wiser, not be thinking anything differently. We should be thinking, is this possibly a racist right here who has been very, very refined, very, very refined, and maybe I could ask this suspected racist, some questions. Maybe I should focus on white people way more than I focus on non-white people. Maybe I should actually stop focusing on non-white people, because the record shows that we're very pitiful, we're very confused, we're not making any strides towards solving this race problem. If there's any people who are going to allow this to happen and help this to happen, it's going to be the white people in charge. So let me focus on them for once. Let me be the generation that focuses on white people. Let me have that trending. Focus on white people. Hashtag 2022, focus on white people. Hashtag suspect white people. How about we make this something viral, something trending, not FBA, not anything that is suspect white people. We'll ask white person a question day, every day. Yeah, but that's my notes, and I really hope folks are learning from Area 3 or get out of it, wasting our time. But as I skimming through my notes, yes, I have covered everything, and and that was my my closing comment. So Mr. Evolutionist for Justice or Miss Constructive Action, if you folks have any comments you'd like to share before we close out, please do.
The more you understand, the more we have to take the time to apply our understanding. The universe and the races will give us immediate opportunities sometimes. So look for an opportunity to walk out the things we talked about. Good night.
All right, but don't head out just yet. We have I'm gonna close out with the quote from Nyan Sasam, A Calendar of Revolutionary Daily Thoughts by Mawalimu K. Baruti. So I'm gonna close out with this, and I would encourage
Walimu.
Say it again.
Walimu Baruti.
Oh yeah, my Walimu Baruti. I'm gonna not gonna say it correctly. I want to say Mr. Baruti.
Walimu.
All right, Baruti. Got it. So Mr. Baruti's text. I'm gonna have to practice saying it on my own free time. Anywho, this is from April 15th. And again, from the text, I'm probably saying it, this title wrong as well. Nyan Sesam. So maybe you can correct me there too as well. Nyan Sesam, a calendar of revolutionary daily thoughts. And it's from the date April 15th. And this quote is actually from Mr. Broody. And not all of them are from him. So it's interesting. And I would encourage folks to codify everything that they hear, you know. But in order to do that, you have to go to producejustice.com and learn what codification is. So please do that. Producejustice.com. So closing out with the quote of the day. We are soldiers in love with forming beautiful families, rearing happy, thinking children, building strong, lasting communities, raising a mighty nation, and removing all enemies. For African warrior scholar compliments, there is no other reason for beings. There is a reason why the family institution was the first and still is the most fundamental. African institution Europeans worked to destroy. It is the source of our heritage, its transmitter, and the command post within which survival strategies are formulated and duties meted out. Without it, people don't know who they are or what to do. Therefore, it only makes sense that to rebuild our nation, our families must be rebuilt. And doing this requires bringing complementary individuals together and stabilizing and strengthening existing African familial relationships. Affirm, I love, respect, and empower my complement. So that was from Nyan Sesam, the calendar of revolutionary daily thoughts. All right, folks, please like, share, subscribe, share this information. We don't want to have to discuss this or be subjugated forever.